Okay, busy day today. Obviously, the big news, find out who our opponent will be for the first round of the college football playoffs, and still juggling portal evaluation with official visits coming in this week and game prep and practice. So quite a busy month. So Notre Dame, I'll be honest, saw them on tape against Purdue. We're getting ready for Purdue. Obviously, a very good football team. They've won 10 in a row. Coach Freeman's done a tremendous job with that football team. I looked at their stats. Haven't had a chance to really watch them today with all the media stuff going on. But I saw enough of them against Purdue to know that they're an excellent football team. And when you look at their scores, they haven't played in very many close games, so I'm sure it'll be quite the challenge. But we're looking forward to it. We're a good football team. I'm confident in our football team. I think that we will apply the lessons learned at Ohio State when we had to go on the road in a hostile environment against a good football team, and apply those up at Notre Dame. Gotta have a great week of prep. Questions?
Zach, on your left, and this.
I guess you answered there a little bit, but just how much did you allow yourself, if at all, really, to look ahead to the idea of teams you might face, things you might be prepared for, maybe even talking with your team about things like the Ohio State atmosphere and learning from that, because you knew you might have to go on the road to a similar sort of road environment. Just without knowing where you were going, how far ahead did you let yourself look?
Well, I think we addressed the Ohio State issues with the team Monday after the game. And then in terms of, last week we did a Monday routine, which is kind of a walkthrough, 20-minute walkthrough on offense, 5-minute on punt, about 10 minutes of individual stretch, stride 660s. That's our Monday routine, right? We review the Purdue game. And we previewed the next opponent. We didn't know who the next opponent would be. We previewed Georgia for 15 minutes and worked against them in a 20-minute walkthrough, just some base first and 10, P10 defenses or plays that they, talk 3 runs, talk 3 passes. The next day, which was a Tuesday practice, off week Tuesday, about an hour and 10-minute practice, we worked Ohio State, corrections, base looks, same thing. Wednesday, which is similar practice to Tuesday, we did work Notre Dame P10 first and 10. Tuesday's punt return, Wednesday's kickoff return, PAT football. And then, so those practices occurred on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but they were Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday type practices. So that's where we're at.
His upper left, and Matt.
Yeah, Curt, you mostly stayed away from commenting kind of on the playoff rankings, except kind of over the last 24 hours, you made a couple of media appearances, weighed in a little bit. Were you frustrated kind of just having to defend Indiana's resume of 11-1 and kind of seeing you guys take some shots nationally from coaching people, that was kind of analyzing the situation?
That's all in the past. Our eyes are forward right now on what we got to get done in terms of preparation for the next opponent, and also handling the other things that we have to handle nowadays in December. This team's accomplished a lot. I'm proud of what they've accomplished. I think coaches have done a great job, players have done a great job. But saying that, no one is satisfied. No one's satisfied. The players are hungry for more. The coaches are hungry for more.
Matt, on your left, and Todd.
Coach, today on the CFB show, Coach Saban asked Dan Lanning about making sure the players don't get the rat poison. You guys have been really good about that this year with 3 weeks off. I guess, how worried are you about that, and what do you do to try to, keep them the main thing?
Yeah. Well, I'm not really concerned about rat poison right now. Keeping the main thing is the main thing. And I think we did a pretty good job of that last week, and we got to do it again this week, and then next week got to have a great week of preparation, stacked days to put ourselves in the best position. I I think Dan Lanning's situation might be a little different because they're coming off a championship game victory, right? And then they've got a bye week. So our situations are a little different. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the job he did at Oregon. Another Coach Saban disciple to some degree. So I'm confident that we'll do the things we have to do to put ourselves in the best position to play on Saturday or Friday night.
Todd on your left and Seth.
Curt, when you played at Columbus, crowd noise was an issue for your team. How do you learn the lessons from that, having played at Ohio State, and what really different can you do to deal with crowd noise?
Well, I do think, having been in that environment and coming out individually and collectively, you benefit from the notes taken. I think where it affected us most was offensively, having to go to a silent cadence the third play of the game. Didn't affect us the first series of the game, but once Ohio State had a chance to get their guys on the sideline and this is what they're doing, and they started to tee off on us pretty good. There are some things we can do and incorporate, which we'll do. And then we did some uncharacteristic things in that game. Like, we dropped a punt snap. We had poor location on a punt that resulted in a punt return for a touchdown. Still got to get the guy on the field. We had some communication errors on pass protection, and a couple critical missed assignments. I think we're going to be a lot better the next time we're in that environment.
Seth on your left and Zach B.
Curt, I know you said you've only been able to watch so much of Notre Dame so far, but from what you've been able to see of them, I guess what stood out, and with an extra week to prepare for this game, I guess what's your process look like for getting ready for this game?
Yeah, well, what stood out in a little bit I've seen, right, is a really good football team that's very disciplined and very well coached and executes at a high level. And in terms of our preparation, normally this would be sort of like when you have an off week, right? The coaches dig deep and we install some with the players, and then the next week, we're more aggressive in our install. We're doing a balancing act between recruiting and preparation, okay? And so we're gonna have to make the most of every day. But we are gonna turn sort of the portal recruiting official visit piece off Saturday around noon, so that Sunday, which is really like a Monday now, right? It's all football, it's all prep for the coaches.
Zach B on your right and Pete.
You've mentioned kind of your last and prior playoff experience as a head coach. What kind of things do you think would be specific things that will be applicable to preparing for this game?
Well, I am kind of used to this routine, but I don't think it's a major change for any of the coaches, to be quite honest with you, that are in the playoff. You just have a few more days between games, so I don't think it's anything that anybody can't figure out.
Pete on your left and Rabbi.
Coach, the quality of kicking you've gotten with Nicholas, can you talk about that and the impact he potentially could have?
Yeah, he's 100% on his PAT field goals, or on PATs. He missed one field goal where our timing was off just a little bit. And he's been a very consistent kicker, which is great to have, obviously.
Rabbi, row 2 on your right and Jim.
Yeah, Coach, I want to get your thoughts. Brian Haynes obviously up for semifinals for the Boils War. Their defense, ranks, I don't know what it is, top 5, top 3 in a number of categories. Your thoughts on the job he's done, and then on your defense overall, just how consistently they played.
Yeah, Brian's done a tremendous job as a coordinator, and has it every year since he's been a coordinator. I think this is his third or fourth year now, so I believe. And if I'm not mistaken, we're number 1 against the rush, and number 2 in least amount of yards given up per game. And we play with that edge, fast, physical tough, run to the ball, swarm the ball, pressure the quarterback, just like every defense I've had since really I went to JV in 19. And that's when that philosophy of being disruptive up front was put in place, and a premium put on those front guys and linebackers. Things have been tweaked through the years. We play more zone now than we used to play. But our guys really play in, play out. Not always perfect, but we play with a nasty edge. We get a lot of hats to the ball, and we're going to have to be able to stop the run this week in the next game. Notre Dame's got an excellent running game, and the quarterback alone has rushed for about 750 yards. So you add that to it, and it'd be quite the challenge.
And last thing for me is your thoughts on, I think it's 9 of your assistants got multi-year deals.
Right, yeah.
Your thoughts on just getting that done and that kind of stability and that kind of commitment from IU?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, the president, Pam Whitten, and Scott Dolson, their commitment to being successful, providing the resources and funding to be successful at the P4 level in the Big Ten Conference. I can't say enough about how appreciative I am, right? And I think it's a statement, major statement. In a sport where you really need to be successful at this level for a lot of different reasons. And once they came to me and we redid my contract, and I love it here, and like it here a lot, love Bloomington. And then the next order of business was locking in the staff, because when you win, like we do, right, guys have opportunities. And that took about 10 to 14 days, and because all these guys have agents anymore, and but I was really happy that we were able to get done what we got done. Of course, Tino Sinceri is going to take the coordinator job at UCLA, but coach through the playoffs. I'm happy for Tino. Done a great job as the quarterback coach. And I've known Tino a long time, and known his family a long time. And I'll miss him being around. But the philosophy's always been, when you lose a coach, hire a better one. We had a lot of players a year at quarterback before we hired Tino. So while he's done a great job, we won't miss a step. And he'll do a great job preparing quarterbacks during the playoffs.
Jim, right in front of Jack.
Coach, you and your staff have plenty of experience in playoff games this time of year, whether it's the playoffs or a bowl season. But it's an unusual time for teams because there's so much space and time between games. How do you balance that and use that to your advantage and keep the team where they need to be?
Yeah, well, we played Purdue on the 30th. So, the players had Sunday and Monday off, and Tuesday they lifted weights, and Wednesday we were in no Monday routine. We got 3 days of practice in. This will be like an off week practice schedule, except we'll be a little more aggressive with install. We got to really make the time count, because we got to balance the recruiting and the preparation. And then next week will be like game week. So it's all about really getting enough practice in to maintain your timing and your fundamentals. Last week, that's what it was about, and I thought we did a good job of that, and get the players refreshed. And now this week will be a lot more specific to who we're going to play, and then we'll ramp that up another level next week.
Jack in front and Dennis.
Hey, Curt, Notre Dame's historically been seen as kind of the premier program in the state. How much, just beyond wanting to advance no matter who you play, do you see this game as an opportunity to kind of show that Indiana can match or even surpass them in terms of the statewide programs?
I think it's a great game for the state in general, for Indiana and Notre Dame to be playing in the college football playoff. I think the series began in 1898, and Notre Dame has pretty much had the upper hand. I don't know the series records, okay? But regardless of who we play, you know, this is the playoffs. You win or go home, you know, and we're in it to win it. I mean, our odds of probably making the college football playoff at the beginning of the season, I don't know what they were, but they were pretty darn low, I'm sure. We were picked 17th out of 18th teams in the Big Ten. Our odds of winning the next 4 games are probably significantly higher than they were of making the college football in the first playoffs in the first place. So we've climbed that mountain, right? So regardless of who we were gonna play in the first round, the objective is the same.
Dennis, far left, and Angela.
Curt, I only ask this because you do have so much experience in the playoffs. Do you feel compelled at any point to write a practice plan, travel plan, day by day until January 20th?
Yeah, I mean, it's till January 20th is in my head, not on paper. But like, we have our plan. We had a plan for the month of December, which we revised slightly today because we're playing Friday instead of Saturday. And then I have a plan on paper through the end of the month, January 1st, which you have to have.
Angela up top, then Joe.
Coach, now that you've had a week off to reflect on this incredible season, 11-1, and just getting to the college football playoff for the first time in program history, what does that mean to a program like Indiana to be on this national stage?
Yeah, well, I haven't had a week off. It has been a week since we played. I've been busier this past week than I was in season. So I really still haven't had a chance to reflect and let it all sink in. I did walk outside my office this afternoon for about 30 seconds and looked around the stadium between interviews, and it kind of hit me, and I was like, wow, we've accomplished a lot in 12 months. But that's all in the past. You know, what are you going to do now? Blue Bolts. And that's kind of where we're at. And it means a lot to any team that's in the college football playoff. And I guess we're a newbie to this. So, you know, to measure the value of it for Indiana versus Notre Dame, I can't really answer that question. But I know winning opens a lot of doors, and it has in the recruiting process, and it will here in the short term for sure.
Joe on your right, then Griffin.
Coach, I think it's been about a month since Drew Evans was out for the season. How have you seen the offensive line adjust from that moment to now?
Well, I thought Drew was really doing a good job. I like him a lot as a player. He's a tough guy. I think Tyler Stevens has come in and really done very well. Very well. So, you know, we're marching on. He's playing winning football.
Griffin, upper left, last one.
Coach, when you came here, you said you wanted to change the culture. You wanted to change this from a losing program to becoming a winning one. Does punching a ticket to the college football playoff for the first time in school history do that for you?
Well, I mean, changing culture is a process. You gotta change the way people think inside and outside the organization, throughout the state and the Big Ten country and the country, right? And then you gotta have a blueprint and a plan, and you work your plan every day to gain the edge. And you gotta be committed to improvement. And you gotta have high standards, expectations, and you can never lower your standards. And this is the end result of a process. And this is the reward for a job well done. But it's like opening a gate into a different world, right? And there's work to be done. And there's things out there, there's goals out there to be accomplished. And but you only have that opportunity because you change the culture, the product, the result, and the expectation.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.